With 6 playable races and campaigns, considerable additions to the gameplay, and a few multiplayer improvements, Dawn of War 2 Retribution offers far more than you'd expect from a standalone expansion. Retribution's addicting and chaotic gameplay holds plenty of surprises for Dawn of War 2 diehards and newcomers alike, and the new Imperial Guard brings welcome new challenges to gameplay.
We are Space Marines. We are the Blood Ravens.
10 years after the events of Dawn of War Chaos Rising, Subsector Aurelia still isn't the kind of place you'd like to visit on vacation. Hordes of orcs, tyranids, and chaos marines continue to terrorize the subsector's planets. Elsewhere, the familiar Blood Ravens hunt down chaos while questioning their own chapter master, and the mysterious Eldar race to save one of their craft worlds with only a prophecy for guidance. Fed up with the ceaseless bloody bickering, the distant Imperium of Man has launched a massive exterminatus fleet toward the subsector, with the intent of eradicating all life and starting anew. If you can't beat them, they figure, you might as well kill them. With the fate of every faction on the line, Retribution marks a bold departure from previous Dawn of War games by letting you play through the storylines of all 6 as they attempt to halt the exterminatus. This ambitious undertaking comes with a price. While none of Retribution's storylines are bad necessarily, the sprawling production lacks the narrative punch you've come to expect from the Blood Raven's previous exploits.
Interlopers, come to witness the glory of the Dark Portal. Whoa! Crush them under the death roller!
The chance to play 6 different races in 6 different campaigns sounds exciting, but the execution stumbles in places. To cut a few corners, each campaign largely follows the same basic story arc and map sequence, with bosses and other adversaries simply swapped out to fit the faction you're playing. The considerable differences between factions and the frequent interactions between heroes do much to keep one playthrough from feeling identical to the next, but the first few tutorial missions grow increasingly more tiresome with each campaign. Even so, Retribution offers around 7 to 10 hours of gameplay for each race, complete with the chance to play co-op with a friend. Since every faction has its own unique heroes and infantry units, much of the fun springs from experimenting with the strengths and weaknesses inherent to each race. The Tyranid campaign is by far the weakest link. The faction's hive mind only allows for a single hero class with disappointing abilities, resulting in less strategic variability, comparatively few upgrades, and a forgettable story.
These creatures are not simple beasts.
Not surprisingly, the Imperial Guard steals the show. With a curious mix of Imperial British bravado and a definitively Soviet sense of fashion, the faction comes complete with some of the expansion's most memorable heroes. The Commissar Lord, in particular, stands out, owing to his predilection for inspiring troops to battle by executing cowards. Most importantly, the Imperial Guard plays different than any of the other factions due to their infantry's fleshy weakness. These are, after all, mere humans, and you'll find that it's best to play the Imperial Guard campaign defensively by digging in and mowing your opponents down with turrets and transporting troops with heavy tanks. If you've played the previous Dawn of War 2 games, Retribution's multiplayer mode will seem familiar, aside from a welcome switch from Games for Windows Live to Steamworks. As before, you can create custom victory point matches to race for resources or other objectives, or try enjoyable though time-consuming annihilation battles that require you to completely overwhelm your opponent. The major differences here are the inclusion of the Imperial Guard as a playable race and a new advanced map for the popular Last Stand mode, which pits up to 3 players against increasingly difficult waves of enemies. Hardcore players in particular will love the new map, which immediately drops your hero into frantic levels of AI battling madness. As a bonus, you can now play Last Stand as the Imperial Guard's Lord General, who eventually unlocks brutally effective turrets for annihilating his opponents. As per the Dawn of War 2 formula, Retribution emphasizes fighting undercover and using terrain to your advantage, though with a few key changes to spice things up. You'll notice an increased emphasis on summoning reinforcements at captured objectives. Finding and capturing headquarters throughout most maps lets you deploy combat vehicles for increased firepower or protection. Overall, it's a sincere effort to combine the large-scale management of other RTS games with Dawn of War 2's micromanagement focus, without resorting to base building. On most missions, you can even switch out some of your hero units for powerful honor guards and a higher population cap, although sticking with 4 heroes helps maintain the best parts of Dawn of War's hotkey heavy action. Even then, playing Retribution often feels like controlling a small army, particularly when you've amassed a healthy stash of requisition and population upgrades. Don't go in thinking that you can simply select your entire force and overwhelm your foes by numbers alone. Even on the easiest setting, failing to effectively use cover or choose the right ability can result in the death of your entire force. Between missions, you have a chance to upgrade and customize your heroes with the loot you pick up along the way, and you can add new abilities that determine your heroes' roles as they level up. Through it all, your heroes advance the story through voiceover, while you equip gear and add points to different trees, ensuring that the role-playing doesn't relent, even during the nuts and bolts task of customizing your loadouts.
I don't like it, sir. Why would Kyrus be around?
You'll have an answer to that question soon enough, Sergeant Major. We proceed to Typhon at once.
Visually, Retribution maintains the Dawn of War 2 series' high standards. Combat looks as frantic as it feels, and a host of beautiful cutscenes and a diverse map selection ensure plenty of eye candy. Retribution's most significant achievement, however, is its sound production. The voice acting for every single race is top-notch, and the largest weapons resound with satisfying booms that sometimes make you jump in your seat. Dawn of War 2 Retribution mixes up the series' gameplay fundamentals in interesting ways, without fouling up what makes it unique, reinvigorating the multiplayer game in the process. It's a remarkably ambitious standalone expansion, and at a mere $30, it's a great introduction to those who have yet to take up arms.